morning, my students and friends. Thank you for joining me again for another session of yoga, another practice. Welcome to this beautiful Friday morning in my home studio. My name is Annie from MP, that's Mindful Palette Movement Practitioner, Milwaukee Proud. I'm grateful to be able to bring these classes to you in conjunction with the Milwaukee Rec Department. So I thank you all for being here. We have our Yoga for Runners practice this Friday morning. And so this is the most challenging class that I teach right now during the week. We are going to stretch those muscles that we may use for running. And even if you're not a runner, I welcome you. There's definitely a way that you can make this practice your own, modify in either way, more challenging or dialing it back. We'll work on our lung capacity. We will definitely work on strengthening the core and also getting into different planes of the body beyond just back and forth like this with running. So you might need some props. If you have yoga blocks, you could grab those now, or take a bolster or a rolled up blanket or pillow. We may use these for different reasons. So I might use them in the front for placing my hands. So just so you know, even if you have some books or something like that, you could use those. And then we also may use a yoga strap, or if you have a tie or a belt, that would work as well. So just have those ready so that they're close when you might need them. So we will start here today in a seated position. So find that cross-legged position, or if it's better for you to keep those legs out straight, or if you want to be on your knees, you can choose that. And you might even bring that leg in front that doesn't always end up in front when you go to this natural cross-legged position. So give that other leg a chance to be in front today. And once you arrive in that seated position, wherever you are, see if you can find a tall spine. So bring the crown of your head up to the sky, root that tailbone into your mat. Maybe you'd like to place those hands on the knees with the palms down to feel a little more grounded today. You can bring the pointer finger and the thumb together and kind of cup that knee. Maybe you'd like to have those hands resting on the knees with the palms open. Again, connecting the pointer finger and the thumb. Be ready to receive that good energy in that empty bowl that is your palm. Think about lifting the heart, opening the collarbones, dropping those shoulder blades down the back, shoulders away from the ears. Notice that navel pulling into the spine. You can close your eyes or just gaze at the floor ahead of you. I will do my best to give you cues so that you don't have to see what I'm doing, but you can hear what the next step is. So from here, just begin to notice right where you are this morning. Perhaps you've already been out for your run this morning and this is your stretch. This is your post-run stretch. So just notice how you're feeling. Notice your breath. Maybe you're noticing your heart rate. And as you connect with that breath, I invite you to set an intention for your practice this morning. What is it that you could use on this last day of the work week as we know it? Do you need right now in this time of the month, this time of the season, this time of this quarantine process? Take one more breath in, and then we'll release there. And just let those hands release. You could begin to gently open the eyes. Again, maybe you have that gaze down towards the earth, and you gently bring your gaze back to center. So we'll bring these feet out in front of us, just gently bringing those feet out a little wider than hip distance apart. And again, placing those hands on the knees, or you could even bring them to the shins, moving into our first pranayama, our first mindful breathing exercise. So we're going to try our square breath from this position, and I'll show you what we're going to do. So from typically when we take a cat-cow, we're in a tabletop position. Last night during bedtime yoga, we did a cat-cow breath from that Sukhasana, that cross-legged position. Here we're going to try it with the knees up like this. So before we begin the breath, we will just arch forward and then hollow out like this. So again, you can have those hands on the knees. So a way to start opening up the hips, and we'll also start warming up the spine as we breathe. So if this does not feel good to you, you could stay in that cross-legged position or take any other seated position that you wish. Also starting to stretch into the feet here. So hands in a comfortable place. We take a breath in, arching that heart, or bringing that heart forward, arching that back. Inhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold the pose, hold the breath. 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, hollow out. 4, 3, 2, 1. And then remain here. The breath is out. 3, 2, 1. Inhale, arch forward. 3, 2, 1. Hold the breath. 3, 2, 1. Exhale, spine goes all the way to the back of the room. 3, 2, 1. Remain there. The breath is out. 3, 2, 1. Take 2 more rounds of that at your own pace. 4, 4, 4, and 4. And take your time finishing that square breath. But when you are done, you can place those hands at your sides and just start to swish these knees back and forth. Using your breath as you go. And then meeting in the center here. We'll bring the soles of the feet together for that bound angle pose. Starting to take a few more stretches to warm up the spine. So let's inhale those arms high here. And then exhale, fold forward. Maybe you're placing those hands around the feet, or you're grabbing onto the ankles and gently pressing those knees down. Think about extending the crown of that head forward and exhaling as you melt. We're just beginning here, so you don't have to go too deeply. Warming up that spine and that back bend. Let's come back up to center, breathe in. And then we'll take a bend to the side. So this is a little different than our cross-legged position, so you may not feel like you can go as deeply, but we're still warming up that spine. Shoulder comes back. Inhale to the center, and exhale over to the other side. Back to the center here. And then we'll take a twist. So as you're twisting, that hand comes to the opposite knee, and maybe you press that knee down a little bit, opening up that hip. Grow tall as you breathe in, and then twist from the base of the spine. So you can be opening up that hip, pressing the knee away, but also twisting the spine. Back to the center on your next inhalation. And then exhale, take it to the other side. So again, opportunity to open up that knee, open the hip a little bit, and also twist the spine. So grow tall here as you breathe in, and then twist from the base of the spine. Just notice different muscles engaging here. You don't have to try to do it all in terms of, I gotta open my hip, I gotta do it. Just do the best that you can and notice. Back to center. We'll take that forward fold again. Again, reach the crown of that head forward, and then melt the heart down, tucking that chin slightly. And then come all the way back up. So moving into our back bend here for our warm-up, I'll give you a couple of options. Either a reverse plank, so you could take your legs long, placing those hands behind you, fingers pointing towards the glutes, and you could press up, pressing those hips to the sky here. So I recommend this if those feet will go flat. My feet do not go flat when I do this. I don't have a very deep point in my feet. So the other option would be to bring those feet flat, hip distance apart. Again, those hands are pointing, the fingers are pointing towards the glutes. And then again, we lift those hips to the sky for that reverse table. Let me turn sideways so you can see here. Pressing those hips up. I'm pulling that chin in and then letting the head drop back and really pressing out of my hips. So back bend options here. Take another breath. Slowly lower down. Let those legs go out long. Reach up. And then fold forward, taking that counter bend here. If your hamstrings still feel tight, just take this gently. Mine feel tight this morning. I'm going to stop here and come up. So then we'll bring the soles of those feet together again, wherever you are, and start to gently walk yourself down to your back. So easing down, keeping the soles of those feet together, hips are open. Notice what this feels like. Maybe you just take a little rock back and forth, massaging the sacrum. It's the back of the pelvis, that space between the lower back and the tailbone. Hands on the belly, moving into our next pranayama. This is our 4-7-8 breath. This is a good one for working through insomnia or anxiety. And it has breath retention. So you can extend these counts and really work on building that lung capacity. So in your next inhalation, take that breath in for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold your breath here. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe out through a straw for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold the breath. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale through that straw. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take 2 more rounds at your own pace of that 4-7-8 breath. Again, if you'd like to slow down those counts and really challenge that lung capacity, take that at your own pace. When you're finished, and please take your time, we'll just fold those knees in and bring them into the chest. And take your time finishing this mindful breathing exercise. When you're finished, gently reach down, bring those knees in towards the chest. We'll just rock back and forth, again, massaging that lower back. And then when you're ready, we'll take a full body stretch here, reaching arms and legs in opposite directions, maybe rotating those ankles or those wrists. Stretch out here, really get tall, get really long, and then release. And we'll roll onto our side, moving into some stretches for the quadricep and the lower back, strengthening the lower back, which is part of our core, remember. So a couple of options here. We're moving into side bow. You can take this from belly, but today I'm just going to show you from the side. So one hand is under, the bottom hand is under the ear. The other hand, or a strap, so if you have a strap and you'd rather thread a strap around the foot, you could take that as well. So reaching for that foot, placing that hand on the top of the foot, and then moving that leg back, so perhaps your knees are in line, maybe starting to feel a stretch through the quadricep, the front of the upper leg, and then start to kick that foot, I'm rolling, start to kick that foot into the hand. So I was rolling there because I hadn't quite anchored yet through my hip, through my shoulder. I'm pressing that foot into my hand. I'm feeling a deeper stretch through the quadricep muscle. I'm also feeling a stretch and strengthening through my lower back. Take one more breath, kick that foot into the hand, and then slowly release. And we'll take that to the other side so that you can see me. I'm going to press up and actually turn over. You're welcome to just flip, although you may not be able to see the screen. So you choose what you would like to do. Moving to the other side. So we have the other hand under the ear. I'm bending that top leg, reaching back either with my hand or with the strap, holding onto the top of that foot. And then when you're ready, so take a breath in, and then exhale as you kick that foot into the hand, noticing that stretch through the quadricep, lower back. Maybe you're even feeling a shoulder opener or a chest opener on the side with that arm that's reaching back. And maybe you're feeling a shoulder stretch with the lower arm as well. So try to keep that knee as close to the other one as you can instead of letting it fly out here. When we do bow on our belly, we talk about keeping those hips right, the knees right behind the hips. So same thing here, keeping that knee in line with the hips. One more breath, foot kicks into hand, and then slowly release. So from here, rolling onto the belly, we'll bring those hands underneath the forehead or the chin, whatever you prefer, and bend at the knees, moving into some grasshoppers. So this is a lower back strengthener, working on our core as I promised. So moving into some strengtheners for the lower back, the glutes, and the legs. So flexing those feet, soles of the feet up to the sky. You can take this both legs at the same time or one at a time. So when you're ready, we send the soles of those feet up to the sky and come down. Exhale as you lift. Inhale, come back down. Again, you can take this one leg at a time, alternating if that would feel better to you, or take it at the same time. Keep your head or your chin engaged with the mat. So it's tempting to let that come up as we move, but try to keep that head engaged with the mat and just lift those legs so that work is coming out of the lower back and those glutes are being strengthened, those legs are working. Take your time. This may not seem like a huge movement, but there's a lot of strengthening going on here. Focus and breath. So lots of ways to bring our attention to our movement. Let's take two more. And release. And just shake those feet out. Shake those legs out. And then from here, we'll bring that left arm out to the side, right arm underneath the shoulder. Tuck that elbow in. In your next breath, we will push into that right hand and start to roll onto our left side. So that left arm is out in a T, so you may be feeling a stretch through the chest here. You could stay right here, stretching into those arms, but if you'd like to get more into the hip, since that is one of the areas that we are hoping to work in getting into different planes of the body, you can bend that top leg and then open up that hip. I'm placing this foot flat on the earth behind my long leg, and I'm aiming that knee up to the sky. So this is one place you could be. The last option would be to bring this arm up and around, so opening up the shoulder and stretching the chest now on two sides, on both sides of the body. Keep that head resting on the earth. Keep opening up that knee, opening up the hip. Perhaps you feel that glute engaging. One more breath here, and then slowly start to bring that back down. Right hand comes under the shoulder there. And then slowly we'll switch that out. So right arm comes long. Let me, actually I'll stay on this side because then you can see what I'm doing with the other leg. So left hand is under the chest. I've got this right arm, the left hand is under the shoulder, right arm is long. Pressing into that left hand, rolling onto my side, so you could stay right here. I'm getting a stretch through this right pectoral muscle, the chest muscle. I might bend my top leg and then bring that knee up to the sky, placing that foot flat behind me, behind that long leg. And that may be an edge for you. If you're feeling a little bit of a cramp, you could stop, shake that out. And again, another option is to bring this top arm up and around, opening up the chest on the other side, rolling that shoulder back. Breathe here. Notice if you can open that knee a little bit more deeply as you take each round of breath. One more breath here. And slowly bring it back to the center. And then we'll press back into child's pose For one breath. Stretch all the way back out, bringing those hands underneath the shoulders, tuck those elbows into the sides. Inhale, lift with that lower back, baby cobra. Exhale, lower down. One more time up. This time perhaps you lift those hands off, noticing how you're really using that strong lower back to lift. Exhale, lower down. Moving into our plank pose, you could come through tabletop position or tuck those toes and press straight up into that plank. So you choose what shape of plank that you would like today. High plank here, you could be in forearm plank. Maybe you have your knees down in either forearm or high plank. So make sure that you have those knees behind the hips if you're bringing those knees down for plank. So you choose where you are. Let's take a few breaths here. And we can even dip those knees down if you want to add some core engagement. So we would drop one knee and then the other. Staying with the breath, keep pressing that floor away. Fill that space between the shoulder blades. And then pause here, holding that plank. We're going to lower down either knees, chest, chin, or you could shift forward and lower through Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale as you lift through Cobra or Upward Facing Dog. Exhale, lower back down. Tuck the toes, press into your Downward Facing Dog. Walk this out. Take that dog for a walk, pedaling those feet. Maybe you want to walk those feet in a little closer to the hands, noticing how that feels with the heels. Can you press those heels closer to the mat? Those heels do not have to touch the mat, but aim them in the direction of the mat and then press that heart towards the thighs. Maybe you want to go way up on the toes or dip those knees down, or you can even shift heels back and forth, noticing that side body stretch. Find yourself back in the center here. In your next breath, take that right leg to the sky as you inhale. Let's bend at the knee and then open up that hip. Once again, equal weight through the hands, so keep those arms strong. Make a circle or two with the hip in both directions. Send that leg high again on an inhale. Exhale, crunch forward. Inhale, back up. Exhale, same side elbow. Inhale, up. Exhale to the opposite elbow. Inhale, up. Exhale, sweep it through to your low lunge. So this is where those blocks might come in handy. I'm reaching for blocks. Resting here, that front knee is over the ankle. Shift that right hip back, left hip forward. Scissor those thighs together for stability. So you could have hands on blocks. You could place those hands on the thigh. Maybe you want to inhale those arms up. Reaching fingers to the sky, arms are parallel, or taking those hands together, clasping. Drop those shoulders away from the ears. One more breath in, reach up, and then exhale, sweep those arms behind, taking opposite elbows, and roll shoulders back, opening up the heart. One more breath here, and release. And we'll take ourselves back to that low lunge. Let's bring those hands to heart center, taking a twist. So in your next breath, inhale here, exhale, take that left elbow to the right knee or across, maybe you help it across, and you can stay here. Or begin to press those palms together so they meet at heart center, deepening that twist, look towards that upper elbow. Option to bring that back knee off the mat, pressing that heel towards the back of the room. One more breath. And then slowly release. Come back to center. We'll shift back into that half splits. Folding down like a jackknife. Reach the crown of that head out and then exhale, fold. Come back to that low lunge. Frame the front foot. We'll tuck the toes on the left foot. Inhale that leg high and all the way back down. Let's walk this out again. And when you're ready, we'll inhale that left leg up to the sky, bend at the knee, open up that hip. Let's make some circles here. And then inhale up, exhale, shift forward, crunch. Inhale back up, exhale to the same side elbow. Inhale up, exhale, cross it over, back to the sky. And then we send that foot through, help it through if you need to, for low lunge on this side. Sink into that hip. Front knee is over the ankle. Shift left hip back, right hip forward. Maybe bringing those arms up to the sky or even clasping hands. One more breath in. Exhale, bring those hands behind. You could take opposite elbows. Roll shoulders back. Sink into that front hip. One more breath. And slowly release. We'll bring those hands to heart center. Take a breath in. Exhale as you draw that right elbow towards the left knee. You could help it across. You could bridge any gaps with a block. Stay here or begin to press those palms together so they meet at heart center. Deepening that twist, gazing towards the upper elbow. Perhaps you bring that knee off the earth, reaching that heel to the back of the room. Breath is moving here. One more breath in. Slowly lower down, back to center, and then we take that half splits on this side. Send that hip right back to the heel, not dipping into one side or the other. Reach the crown of that head forward, and then exhale, fold, maybe grabbing that opposite foot. And then we move back into that low lunge. We'll frame that front foot and step back into your version of plank. This time we'll take either Spider-Man crunches or you could take shoulder taps. So you've got options. You could do this from knees, taking shoulder taps, or you could take high plank or forearms and take those knees out to the side in those Spider-Man crunches. So a little bit more work for the glutes here. Both of these will target the abdominals. If you're taking those shoulder taps, see if you can keep those hips level. Challenge yourself, keep that breath moving. Static plank is also an option, always. From here, we'll lower down so you can either lower knees, chest, chin, or shift forward. Lower through Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale, lower. And then send those hips to the sky once again for downward facing dog. We'll bend those knees, look towards the hands, step, float, hop, up to the top of your mat. Take a forward fold here. Let yourself hang. Maybe you're swaying back and forth or you've taken opposite elbows. Shake that head out. Shake it yes and no. From here, I'm going to reach for a block. Maybe you have your hands on the earth. Placing that left hand on a block, bending my left knee, rooting through the right heel. In my next breath in, reaching that right arm to the sky. Let's rotate through that wrist. Twist way open here. Exhale, float that hand down. We'll bend the right knee, pressing through that left heel. Inhale, left arm up. Rotate through that wrist. Open up. Exhale, float that hand down and hang here. So bending up those knees enough that we might sneak those hands underneath the feet. So maybe those toes come to the wrist creases, wherever they might arrive. And then with your breath, start to bend and straighten those legs. Exhale as I straighten, inhaling as I bend. This can be a full body stretch. Calves, legs, glutes, hips. My shoulders feel it. My arms are feeling it. One more here. And then slowly release those hands. And start to come all the way up, rolling up very gently here. Slowly take your time. Shoulders come back. Let's bring those hands up to the sky. And then exhale, hands to heart center. So you might be facing the front of your mat still. I'm going to turn to the side, taking those toes to point out like a plie or a sumo squat. Tracking those knees over the toes. So if your toes are turned in, turn them out so that the knees track over those toes. Find yourself here, driving that tailbone down to the earth. You can keep those hands at heart center. You could bring them out to the side. Maybe you're taking goddess arms. Keep wrapping those knees behind you. Broaden the collarbone. Pause here. Let's lift those toes and lower. And then we bring one heel up and we lower down. Let's bring that other heel up and then lower. Get a little bit lower, root that tailbone down into the earth. And maybe you balance, bringing those heels up, strengthening the core. Core is engaged, those glutes are on fire. Find a steady gazing point out in the distance. Open up those shoulders. Balancing, strengthening the legs, strong runner's legs. One more breath here. Slowly lower. Bring those arms all the way up and float them down to the sides. Take a breath. We'll bring those hands behind the back. So I'm clasping my hands behind the back, sending those knuckles down to the earth. Inhale, roll shoulders back, open up the heart. Exhale, fold. Let those hands drop over the head. Or you might let those arms drop all together. You can actually point those toes forward. I didn't mention this before we folded, but those feet can be parallel here. When you arrive, maybe you want to bring a block down and really fold and rest those forearms. Pull that navel into the spine. Notice that engagement there. You could walk these hands over to one side, really putting that energy into the outer blade of the foot. Notice how that changes the stretch in the calf or the side of that lower leg. Walk yourself over to the other side. If you choose, root through the outer blade of that foot. Back to the center. Maybe you're bringing those hands to the hips, clasping elbows, clasping those hands once again. On your next inhale, start to come up with a flat back. And then we'll bring those toes out once again. Hands to heart center. Take another squat. Another opportunity to balance here. So again, you could bring those heels up, or maybe one heel or the other, root through that tailbone, rooted into the earth. Steady gazing point here. Good balanced pose for the day. One more breath. And lower down. Bring those hands behind the head so we're still engaging those legs. We'll take some sumo squats here. So from side to side, working on abdominals. So take a breath in the center, exhale to each side. So your elbow does not have to touch your knee. I remember the first time that I was working on these, probably watching some video or watching someone, and I thought, why doesn't my elbow get down to my knee? Why can't it do that? And then somebody pointed out, they said, well, you have a really long torso. Oh yeah. So just remember that we're all built differently. And I'm still getting a lot of work here. So even if I can't bring my elbow to my knee, no big deal. I'm getting a lot of good strengthening here in my core, and I'm breathing. One more on each side. Back to the center, release those hands. And we'll take this down to the floor into a deeper squat. So first let's come up. We've been working those legs for a little bit. Let's walk these feet in a bit. So you could take another one of those squats or join me in a deeper malasana or garland pose here. So from here, I'm going to use my elbows to open my knees. That may not be the case for you. So you decide what you want, but I encourage you to find that tall spine and broaden the collarbone. Let me turn sideways here so you can see. And again, the heels do not have to touch the earth. I realize that's not possible for everybody. Our ankles and such are different. You could also place a block under the backside. But instead of hunching over like this, think about getting really tall. And again, extending that spine, reaching the crown of the head forward. So again, you might be using those hands, those elbows to open up those hips. This is also great for digestion. Gets the digestion moving. If you want to continue opening these hips a little more, you might take a fist to the palm, or you might take two fists together. And notice how that opens them even more. You might feel your arms getting a strengthening move here. I'm feeling this in my ankles as well. My ankles are getting a good stretch and strengthen right now. And I'm going to let that go. So taking another hip movement here, you can keep your hands together. You can put your hands on the earth or take them out to the side. So I'm going to keep the inner blade of my foot on the ground, and I'm going to bring one knee in and back up. So this is just some work with those hips. Maybe this helps your balance. Maybe you're feeling this in the legs. So not necessarily a yoga pose here. This is actually more from my capoeira training. Some of our warm-ups that we do for balance and flexibility. So maybe you're just holding that squat here. When we come back to center, let's place those hands down, place the bottom on the earth, and gently bring those heels out to the front, moving into some boat poses, Navasana. So we'll bring those heels out and then tilt that torso back. So we almost have a parallel line. If we took the line from our legs and our from the hips up, we almost have two parallel diagonal lines. So from here, actually you can stay right here. If you feel that core engaging, stay right here. You might hold on to those legs. You might release those hands. You might choose to lift those heels off the earth. Maybe those legs are parallel to your mat. Maybe you're taking it up a notch on this Friday morning. Keep pulling that navel into the spine. Breath is moving. One more breath in, I'm shaking. Exhale, release, hug those knees, good work. And then we'll come back again for another boat pose. So you decide if you want to go a little bit more. Maybe that last one was your max, was your edge. So you decide, again, we tilt that torso back. You can hang on, you can release. There are lots of different places you can put the hands. You can take them to heart center, out to the side, up to the top. You can take a mudra with your hands, yoga of the hands. You could even bind the big toes and take those legs out. Keep pulling that navel into the spine. Breath is moving. Find your steady gazing point. One more breath here. Slowly release. Let's hug those knees again. And we bring those heels back out, taking our rowboat now. So taking an in-breath here in the center, we exhale as we twist to one side. Inhale, exhale. You could lift your heels off here. Take this at your own pace. Breathing in at the center, exhale to each side. One more on each side. And then slowly release. Let's hug those knees. Wrapping that left hand, that left arm around the knees. Circle this right arm back. Grow tall here as you inhale. And then exhale, twist. And release. Wrap that other arm around the knees. Take this other arm behind. Inhale, find that tall spine. Exhale, twist. And release. So from here, we'll start to bring ourselves down to the mat. Again, if you'd like more core engagement, I offer you a slow transition down to the mat. So you could bring those legs out, you could bring those heels off, and start to move through that low boat all the way down. And once you arrive, take a full body stretch. Stretch out those abdominal muscles. And float those hands down. We'll bring the knees to the sky. Feet are about hip width apart. And I invite you to bring that right foot to cross over the left leg. Arms into a T. Lift and shift those hips to the left. Take a breath here in the center. And then exhale, bring that right knee down to the right side, looking over those left fingertips. Inhale back to center. Lift and shift hips to the right. Take a breath in, exhale that right foot down to the left, and look over the right fingertips. Option to reach down and grab those feet, pull them in more tightly towards the torso, and then rest those shoulder blades on the mat once more. You took that bind, you can release. We'll bring those knees back to center. Feet as wide as the mat, switch those knees back and forth. We'll take that to the other side. So bringing that left foot to cross over the right leg just above the knee. Lift and shift hips to the right. Those arms are in a T. Take a breath in. Exhale, left knee comes down to the mat on the left side, looking over those right fingertips. Come back to center. We lift and shift hips to the left. Again, breath in at the center. Exhale, take that left foot down to the right side, looking over the left fingertips. Option to go deeper by reaching down, binding those feet or big toes, pull them in towards the torso, and then rest those shoulder blades on the mat. Once again, deeper stretch for the left hip on this side. You took that bind, let's release. We'll bring those knees back to center, uncross, feet as wide as the mat. Switch those knees back and forth. And then we'll bring the soles of the feet together, knees go wide. Take a breath here with those knees wide. Exhale, draw that left knee over to the right. Really squeeze those knees together. Inhale, open. Exhale, right knee over to the left. Squeeze them together. Back to center, moving into one last bit of core work here, our rope pose. So there's a rope between the knees. We take our hands and pull ourselves up on that rope. Exhaling as we come up, inhaling down. What are you pulling yourself towards? What do you really want today? Lift that chest straight up to the sky. See if you can avoid crunching that chin down. So lift that chest straight up, engage those lower abdominals. One more. And release, bring those hands to the belly. One hand to the belly, the other hand to the ribs or the chest. Moving into our last pranayama, our mindful breathing exercise, Dirga breath. Our three-part complete breath. In your next inhalation, fill those lungs completely, noticing the belly, the ribs, and the chest rising. As you exhale, press it all out. The belly goes down, the rib cage closes, and the chest lowers. Inhale, fill the lungs, belly goes up, rib cage expands, and the chest rises. Exhale, belly, ribs, chest. Take a couple more rounds of that three-part complete Dirga breath. Maybe you notice the movement or the order of those parts of our breath in a different order than I have noted, and that is okay. Just focus on three parts of breathing. Inhaling deeply, exhaling completely. Take one more round here of this Dirga breath. And then any other movements, stretches, poses that you wish to complete your practice before we stretch out into our final relaxation pose. And know that if you would like a longer Shavasana, a longer final relaxation pose, you're welcome to take that and let my closing words guide you as you're still letting that all integrate in Shavasana. So once you arrive in that comfortable final relaxation pose, breathe normally there. See if you can release any additional tension in your body and find some stillness. Gently bring your attention back to your space and take this Shavasana as long as you wish. You might start to wiggle fingers and toes or stretch that body as long as you can, maybe bringing those knees in, rocking back and forth. Make your way to one side of your mat. Take a breath there. And then when you are ready, press up to that seated position where we began. You can keep those eyes closed. I invite you to bring those hands to heart center. No matter where you are on your journey, in this week, this year, or in this whole lifetime, I thank you for pausing this morning to share this practice with me. The light, love, and peace in me recognizes and honors the light, love, and peace in each of you. Namaste. Thank you for coming to your mats. Have a beautiful weekend. We'll be back for yoga at 9 o'clock on Monday morning for our gentle yoga practice. Enjoy your day. Thank you.